So, plenty of stuff in the news again. It's not if, it's when there is a disaster in the UK, and then it'll be like EV pass the parcel. Nobody will want them. They won't have a value at all. ICE car values will shoot through the roof because everybody will want an ICE car. EVs will be dead in the water, like the ones on that cargo ship. One of the big things, a few weeks ago, a car transporter caught fire in the Pacific Ocean, and it burned for 3 weeks and then eventually sunk. Nobody knows the cause of the fire at the moment. They did say it started on the EV deck. But the one thing for sure is, even if an EV didn't start it, if an EV is like a secondary fire, could be anything on the ship that catches fire, but once an EV goes up, there is very little chance of stopping it. It would seem. They seem to be very, very dangerous cargo. You've seen that BYD, or the BYD ships they've made, carry 9,000. Do they just register EVs in China, count them as a new sale, and like we do, pretend to sell them off second hand, register them as a sale, make them a second-hand vehicle as well, and then sell them to another country, basically as new. So your second-hand cars go too. So it all looks like everything's hunky-dory, but it's not really. Anyway, if that's what they do, fair enough. Copying homework. The teacher used to say, you're only cheating yourself. Electric vehicles and these evangelists, you're only cheating yourself. You're just making yourself look foolish all the time by ignoring other stories. You're just making yourself look foolish all the time. Now, this, I was going to say, made me laugh, but it didn't make me laugh. It's ironic. This is ironic. Car catches fire in the UK the other day, outside a family's house. I can tell you, these people will never buy an EV again as long as they live. And they're lucky to live. They're lucky to be alive. The driver, the owner, he knows he's lucky to be alive. The car caught fire outside the front of the house. They couldn't get out. The fire brigade had to get them out of the house. It caught fire not very far from where his daughter was. It's not if, it's when one of these electric vehicles causes a massive loss of property and a massive loss of life, whether it be a bus that goes up, whether it's a car that goes up in an underground car park, it's going to happen. And the more we allow written off EVs, damaged EVs to be sold on places like Auto Trader and on eBay, the more chance you have of one of your neighbours buying one of them and taking you out as well. So this is the story. Daily Mail. When was it written? 26th of June 2025. We're on the 29th now. By Jada Bass. This is the terrifying moment a suspected faulty battery caused an electric car to spontaneously burst into flames and explode. James Masonda, 33, from Sheffield, South Yorkshire, has spoken of the horrific incident, saying he could have died had he been in the car, and told how his young daughter was just yards away in the house. The blaze also destroyed 2 other cars nearby and part of the road itself. Because again, yeah, but Baz, petrol cars, they catch fire more than electric cars. Yes, but they're quite easy to put out in comparison. They don't do as much damage. They don't kill people, usually, when they set fire. And when I say they don't kill people, not the people who are sat inside the vehicle when it sets fire. They've got less chance. But the responders and the people who live nearby, the secondary damage it does from the smoke and the toxic fumes it releases. So here we go. I'll go on to that further. Mr. Masonda was woken by the loud explosion, thinking a tree had fallen on his home, until he looked outside to see flames rising from his Mercedes EQA. Now I can only imagine this, because I've said in previous videos, I've had 3 Apple Watches. 2 of them, the battery's expanded so much that it's pushed the face off. The last one didn't push the face off. It was charging next to me, and there was such a bang. I thought somebody had broken in through the window. I was up like I don't know what, and I couldn't find out what it was. And then the face has blown off my Apple Watch because the battery has expanded so much. I had a charging unit at the garage. Same thing, bang. It was in a case, open the case, it's split in half. And it's gone with such force. I mean, I hadn't used it. It was just in the garage. And it's gone with such force that there is now kind of a 1/4 of an inch gap. So it's pushed the plastic out so much because the battery's expanded. Eventually, the plastic, the glue around it has given way and it's just blown it apart. Mr. Masonda was woken by the loud explosion, thinking a tree had fallen on his home, until he looked outside to see flames rising from his Mercedes EQA. After checking on his wife and daughter, Mr. Masonda rushed downstairs but was unable to leave because the fierce blaze engulfed the road. Shocking footage shows the car was steadily smoking for a number of seconds before suddenly exploding, with a nearby fence and garden shed later catching fire. Fire crews attended the scene until midday the next day, moving the car from the road to a nearby grass verge. The father of one claims Mercedes is refusing to investigate because the car was leased through his company via Tusker Salary Sacrifice car scheme. So he saved money on his tax, nearly lost his family. Look at that. This is a terrifying moment. A suspected faulty battery caused an electric car to spawn. Well, again, it doesn't matter what caused it to spontaneously combust, does it really? What matters is he couldn't get out of his house. All I could see was flames when I opened the door. My daughter was in the house. I could have died if I was in that car. So could his daughter, so could his wife. We couldn't get out of the house because of the flames in front of the house. The fire brigade managed to get us out, but it kept making little explosions. We're very shaken up. If I see an electric car, I stay well away from it. To be fair, you know, I'm the same. As I say, I'm an Octopus Energy affiliate. If you use my link in the description, you get £50, I get £50. Everybody wins. Don't get it to get an overnight charging rate. Just pay for your electric. You know, just sooner or later, they'll stop you having an overnight charging tariff anyway. So get used to it now. Make sure your family's safe. Don't try and save money. You will never forgive yourself. Honestly. Mr. Masonda's car was recalled by Mercedes for work in October 2024, but he wasn't told why. He said they needed to bring it in for safety work, and they had it until mid-January. So they had it from October until mid-January. Very good site. If you've got an EV, you should follow EV safety. Severe respiratory damage, cancer, organ damage likely for LA protesters and first responders that were exposed to the multiple burning Waymo electric vehicles the past weekend. The Los Angeles protests Saturday and Sunday that saw several vehicles, including 5 autonomous Waymo cars, set ablaze, have raised renewed concerns among health experts about the specific physical dangers posed by the smoke emanating from burning electric vehicles. EV lithium-ion batteries, immediate effects. These can include coughing, choking, shortness of breath, wheezing, sore throat, burning eyes, skin irritation, headaches, nausea and dizziness. High concentrations of hydrogen fluoride can cause severe respiratory damage, requiring immediate medical attention. Having an EV fire emergency action plan is essential for all commercial businesses that stage, sell or repair EVs. Well, no, it's not. It's any firm that has an EV outside, whether it be privately owned or a company car. This is what you need. Anybody who allows EVs to park in their underground car park. They're, flats. As I say, I was looking at a flat on the docks. Beautiful. Great view. Fantastic. It's got an underground car park. No. That's it. No. Not going there. Full stop. Flat was beautiful. Perfect. Ideal. Mint. No. Underground car park. Line in the sand for me. Here we go. Tampa Free Press. Electric vehicle battery smoke, a growing concern after LA protests. Waymo fires. Los Angeles protests Saturday and Sunday that saw several vehicles, including 5 autonomous Waymo cars, set ablaze, have raised renewed concerns amongst health experts about specific physical dangers posed. The sheer number of Waymo vehicles, coupled with any other EVs potentially involved in the Los Angeles incidents, underscores the potential for widespread exposure to these harmful fumes in concentrated areas. Unlike traditional gasoline car fires, EV battery fires release a unique cocktail of hazardous substances that can have significant and immediate impacts on human health. The sheer number of Waymo vehicles, coupled with any other EVs potentially involved in the Los Angeles incidents, underscores the potential for widespread exposure to these harmful fumes in concentrated areas. I mean, just look at this and just think at the moment, about 20% of new cars sold are electric vehicles, and there's already something like 40 million vehicles on the road. Can you imagine having 40 million EVs and these fires starting? Who's going to put them out? My friend was telling me about a film that was on the other day that he watched. Firefighters, called Only the Brave, that I think they parachute into, when there's forest fires. We saw it in LA and what it did, and how afterwards EVs were hampering the clearing up, because they were having to cut the roofs off any EVs. First of all, they were having to identify EVs, then cut the roof off, then knock the battery pack out with a JCB, and then steamroller the battery pack to make sure it wouldn't catch fire again, and put the first responders in danger, not just of being burnt, but the toxic fumes that come off them. Hydrogen fluoride threat. One of the most significant dangers is the release of hydrogen fluoride, HF gas. The highly corrosive and toxic substance can cause severe irritation and burns to the respiratory tract, eyes and skin. Inhaling even small amounts can lead to pulmonary edema, fluid in the lungs, and potentially life-threatening respiratory distress. Now, pulmonary edema, that's climbers get that, don't they, when they climb without oxygen. And from what I can gather, you basically drown. Your body drowns itself. Sounds a great way to die, doesn't it? Gasping for breath because you've saved 15 quid on a charge, but your car's depreciated by 3 grand, so you're not really saved 15 quid, because depreciation is part of running costs. I've said it before. Toxic metal particles. EV batteries contain various heavy metals such as cobalt, nickel, manganese and lithium itself. When these batteries burn, they release fine particulate matter containing these metals, which can be inhaled deep into the lungs. Long-term exposure to these particles can contribute to respiratory problems, cardiovascular issues and potentially damage other organs. So another motor trade story. Under the heading, be careful what you wish for. We used to be Vauxhall dealers, and another Vauxhall dealer not too far from us, a lot bigger, been going a lot longer, and they were brothers. One of them bought a boat. Story sounds good so far, doesn't it? Alright, so he buys a boat. And as with some boat owners, especially when you buy a used one, part of the fun of owning a boat is renovating it. So, gets it out of the water and scrapes the bottom. Spends the weekend scraping the bottom, Monday morning, he wakes up and his hair's gone a different colour. As I remember, I was very young when this happened. As I remember, went to the doctors, and what he'd done, he'd inhaled this paint that had a material in it to protect the bottom of the boat, to make it last longer. He'd inhaled it. And guess what? He died. He died from buying a boat. Just like you may die from buying an EV. Or your neighbour might die from buying an EV if it goes up on your drive and they inhale the smoke. Or the fireman who comes out to put your EV out because you want to save money and you've believed all this hype. Or your family dies because you're charging overnight to save a few pence because you're that tight, and that's what it comes down to. You people that buy EVs, whenever I get into a discussion with you, it's never, I want to save the planet. It's always about money. Always. Benefit in kind, I save this. I get tax relief. It's cheap to charge overnight. Never, I want to save the planet. Okay? So let's forget about your motives for buying an EV. It's because you're tight. Well, you know, let's put our cards on the table. You're not interested in saving the planet. You want, I mean, what about this? What about, okay, you buy an EV, with the money you save, you buy a boat, and then you go and scrape it off. To be honest, I've no time for you. I really haven't. Complex chemical mixture. The smoke from burning lithium-ion batteries is a complex mixture of gases, aerosols, and particulate matter. We all know about particulate matter because people with EVs go on about particulate matter from ice cars. They forget about the tyres and they forget about all the rust, the regenerative braking causes on the disc. And as soon as you need as soon as you need to do an emergency stop, all the rust comes off at ground level where all the babies and little dogs are, and that's iron oxide, and that causes problems as well. But they forget about that. They rip through tyres like I don't know what, and forget about that. Okay, Baz, that's particulate matter, but it's not particulate matter from an ice car, and it's only the ice cars that we're worried about. Individuals exposed to the smoke from burning EV batteries during the Los Angeles protests could experience a range of immediate and long-term health issues. Well, perhaps that will stop them from taking part in any riots and damaging other people's property in future. I don't feel sorry for them. Anybody who's involved in a riot because they want to go and smash Foot Locker's window in and get themselves a new pair of Nikes, good. But it's the first responders I feel sorry for. Immediate effects. These can include coughing, choking, shortness of breath, wheezing, sore throat, burning eyes, skin irritation, headaches, nausea and dizziness. High concentrations of hydrogen fluoride can cause severe respiratory damage requiring immediate medical attention. Long-term effects. Depending on the level and duration of exposure, individuals may face an increased risk of developing chronic respiratory conditions like asthma and bronchitis. The inhalation of heavy metal particulates could also lead to long-term organ damage and potentially increase the risk of certain cancers. The events in Los Angeles serve as a reminder of the dangers faced by first responders who are called to extinguish EV fires. Firefighters require specialised training and equipment to protect themselves from the toxic fumes. Well, no. People, the general public, they require the same training. Because what if they don't know? What if they're all there? You know, you've seen these signs. Please, get out of the building before you tweet this about a fire. But people don't, do they? They're videoing it. All these noxious fumes they're swallowing. You know. an Instagram post costs you your life. It's not if, it's when there is a disaster in the UK, and then it'll be like EV past the parcel. Nobody will want them. They won't have a value at all. ICE car values will shoot through the roof because everybody will want an ICE car. EVs will be dead in the water, like the ones on that cargo ship. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Ta-da.